Hello. I see we've got a few viewers already. Thank you for joining. We're going to give it a little time for more folks to join in case we have some stragglers. How's everybody doing? Hi, Kat. All right. Well, while we're waiting for folks to join in, we are going to be having a giveaway for 2 signed copies of signed copies of each book, one winner. And so there's a link. I just dropped a link in the live chat. And that'll be the Google form to fill out if you want to be in that drawing. I'll use a random number generator to pick the lucky winner. You don't have to stay at the whole live stream to win. Just fill out the form and be present at some point during the live stream. After the stream is over, I'll close down the form. Looks like we had a few more people, but then the people dropped out. Okay. We'll give it a little more time. It's only a minute after. Thank you. There's glitter on the sides. Hello, everybody. I see more people popping in. There's Mike. Hi, Mike. So for folks just joining us, I've dropped a link in the live chat. That's for the drawing. One lucky person's going to win 2 signed copies or a signed copy of each book. And I'll get those mailed out. So it's important to go ahead and fill out that form so that I can get those out to you. This is my first time ever doing a live stream, so this is exciting. All right. So who's already got a copy of the second book? Anyone already reading it? Such a lively conversation happening in the live chat. Does anyone want to ask? This is also an opportunity to ask me anything related to the books and within reason. Rereading book 1. Cool, cool. Very important to read book 1 before reading book 2, but I know you read it before, so it shouldn't take you too long. And don't forget, everybody, to fill out that form. Somebody's got to win these signed books. Of course, I don't have the books yet. I ordered them from Amazon in what I thought was going to be plenty of time for them to get delivered, but they were supposed to be here Tuesday, and now they will be arriving tomorrow. So one day too late to be here. My inspiration, the first book came about because of a podcast. One of my favorite podcasts is Stuff You Missed in History Class, and there was an episode about a young woman who was abducted by in this case it was Native Americans, and she had brothers who were like searching for her. I think it's been a long time since I've listened to that podcast episode, of years, but that was the immediate inspiration, but I wanted it to be the brother who got kidnapped. So, and then I put it in space and completely changed it around. So it's completely unrecognizable from the original inspiration, but that's where it started at. All right. I'll go ahead and I'm going to read a couple bits from the second book. Exactly. Artistic license for sure. Yes, they did. It was a bit unexpected. The original draft for the first book is nothing like what the final story ended up being. That one turned out to be not very good. So I stopped when I realized that the story was really garbage. So that one will never see the light of day, but I'm really happy with what I ended up with. All right, since we're almost 10 minutes in, we'll give it a few more minutes just to see if we get any more people dropping in. Don't forget to click the little like button. And let's go grab, for anyone who doesn't already have a copy of the second book, there's a link for you to Amazon just in case you're not a lucky winner today. You can buy it for yourself, and that is an affiliate link. So I would also get a little commission if you make any purchases after using it. I know you were mad at me for not having that second book done. It took 6 years. I have not started working on the third book yet, but I do plan to do so soon. I've actually been working on some short fiction to try to get that sold to periodicals to try and make a little bit of quicker money, because the books take a lot more time to produce and edit and get out there. So where the third book, where the third book goes is still a mystery, even to me. I'm not really sure where it's gonna end, because I write into the dark, and so I don't start with a outline or anything like that. I generally start with a character or two and a setting and go from there. I'm glad you're not mad at me. It's this one, book 2 is a little bit even more emotional than the first one. I really love Anne McCaffrey. She was one of my first like fantasy type authors that I really enjoyed. Mercedes Lackey is another one. She's absolutely amazing. Lloyd Alexander, I love his writing as well. Um, and of course, there are so many more that I'm probably not thinking of. Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, their Dragonlance stuff really was inspiring for me a lot as well. So that's where all my fantasy, um, My mom actually is the one who introduced me to Anne McCaffrey. So if she hadn't introduced me to the fantasy novels, I don't know that I would have found them on my own. And in case anyone has not been to my website, there's a link for that as well. I'll just drop that in the live chat for you. That's where you can find all the latest news updates and a link to sign up for my newsletter through Substack. All the book links and stuff like that will be there as well. So true. But meeting the role players actually came about because of the fantasy. I originally was reading the Dragonlance novels. That was my introduction to Dungeons and Dragons. And then because of that, and then finding the box set for Dragonlance, and from there, learning to play and playing badly, and then finding my friends. So, uh, but it's definitely been an experience, and the role playing definitely helps to create more more fiction, more fantasy, more ideas. All right, so we're 11 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and what I'm going to do I thought would be fun is to read a little bit from book 2 if you guys want to hear some of that. And I thought I'd start with a scene from chapter 3. Um, so this scene here actually is, like I said, it's the beginning of chapter 3, and this is taking place after Oriana has been to a captured enemy battleship. So she went to the battleship and was helping with the medical team there. And so that's where we are at when this scene begins. Oriana tapped the call button next to the door to Enoa and Gemma's quarters. She didn't know if Enoa would be counseling someone. Enoa opened the door and hugged Oriana. There was no one else in the room behind her. "What brings you, sweetheart?" "I wonder if you have a few minutes," said Oriana. "I think I need to talk about what's happening, about what we found." "Of course," said Enoa. "I don't have any appointments for a while. Come in and sit." Oriana followed Enoa inside. She walked over to one of the chairs and picked up the cushion that was in it before she sat down and held it on her lap. She was instantly reminded of the first time she sat to talk with Enoa. It seemed like a lifetime ago. Oriana sat in silence for several minutes. She thought about the first time she sat in this chair. The feeling of helplessness had been nearly overwhelming. And she had feared being alone, never seeing her siblings again. Yet now Piero was here with her. "Do you think," Oriana started, "that I'm selfish to be so worried about my sister and Joseph when there are so many people who have lost everything and I have Piero back?" Enoa sat in the plush, comfortable chair across from her, her long floral dress draped down over her shoulders to her ankles. Her light brown hands rested on her lap, her dark hair fastened up in an intricate braid on top of her head. Her smile was gentle, gave no judgment. Her brown eyes echoed love across the space between them. Dr. Enoa Kahele was the one person everyone on the ship could agree on as trustworthy and safe. "Has your worry for them caused you to give less than the best care to your patients?" Enoa asked. "No," Oriana shook her head. "I always do my best." "Then no, your worry isn't selfish. It's perfectly normal." Oriana paused, traced the pattern of a flower on the pillow she was holding in her lap. She felt the texture of the embroidery under her fingertip and wondered if Nathan or Piero could feel something like that with their robotic hands. "They found some different people on the disabled ship," said Oriana. "There were dead people that were emaciated, their muscles atrophied. They have gray skin, and Gemma thinks they were exposed to some kind of radiation, but they look like they were human." "Are you frightened by those bodies?" No, not really frightened. They disturb me. It's upsetting to see that something so horrible happened to them, but I am frightened that something like that could happen to Allegra or Joseph. Tears filled her eyes, and she held the pillow closer to her chest. The pressure inside was growing again. I don't have time to waste being sad for myself. There are so many people that need help. Oriana, your feelings are valid. Anyone would be afraid for the loved ones who are missing. How many were brought back alive today? 74. And that's keeping everyone in the infirmary, and it's keeping everyone in the infirmary busy taking care of them. That's why I can't waste time on these silly thoughts. That's 74 people who have returned to us, and it means that they were kept alive. So there is hope for Allegra and Joseph as well. Oriana nodded and wiped the tears from her face with her hand. You're right, of course. I just can't help thinking of the worst. What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. And Noah stood up and took the few steps across the space between the two chairs. She knelt in front of Oriana and took her hands in her own. You are a caring young woman who has been through so much, and you've come out the other side stronger. You have helped so many people already, and so many more will be helped because of your work. You've done more than most do in their entire lifetimes. Precious girl, you have nothing to be ashamed of. Oriana dropped the pillow on the floor beside the chair and slid forward. Enoa sat back and wrapped her arms around her. She held her tightly and let her cry while she rocked gently back and forth. She kissed the top of Oriana's head. We are blessed to know you, and you will never be alone. So that is the first scene from chapter 3. So that gives a little bit of spoilers for the beginning of the book, but it's still the first couple of chapters, so I didn't think it gave too much away. How's everyone feeling about Joseph being missing? Thank you. Any guesses on what's going to happen next? Predictions, thoughts, questions? I see we've got 5 people in here now. For anyone who missed it, there are some links in the live chat. If you scroll back, we have a link there for a Google Doc that is a form to enter for the contest to win copies, signed copies of both books. One person will win, and you got to fill out the form if you want it. The physical books aren't here yet, but they'll be here soon, hopefully tomorrow. At least that's what Amazon's saying. So I'll be able to get the online store up and running. That will be directly through my website, which is michellekits.com. I included that link there as well. And the Amazon link for book 2, in case you want to go ahead and purchase it yourself. It is an affiliate link, so there would be a small commission to me. It helps to keep the lights on. I know, Kat. I know you meant you weren't happy about Joseph missing. I like that he's missing. No. Still don't have any responses on the contest entry form. Nobody wants those free books. I guess that's okay for me. You can buy them instead. So true. Yeah, unfortunately, my story did end up taking place during a war, so we've got a lot of bodies, such a body count. Book 2 is got an even higher body count, I'm afraid. So if you're squeamish, be ready for that. Have some tissues on hand. The battleship Chicago is going to war. We got to defend the Union. Thank you. I appreciate it. I very, very much appreciate it. Awesome. Understandable. And those will be free physical copies, though. The contest is for physical paperback copies, and I'll be signing them. So I have a total of 15 copies of each book coming from Amazon. One set is, of course, going to my mom. That's a gift. And she deserves it because I credit her with that with my love of reading and fantasy. She started me off really young, so she gets 2 off the top, and then I'll be signing all of them and putting them up for sale on my website. So we'll have that going live hopefully by Monday. Thank you, Kat. Yeah, my mom is excited. She's been telling everyone at the nursing home about it. The first one's dedicated to her too. Yeah. I know she wants those physical copies. It'll be easier for her than the digital ones. If it weren't for that snafu with the covers, I would have had them by now. Speaking of covers, in case let's see. Where did I know I have it. I was going to share the cover, but there it is. Let's see if I can share that screen with everybody. There it is. Absolutely. I like being able to carry lots of ebooks with me, but there's just something about a physical book in hand. I've been picking up more of them, and they're piling up. My house is not cluttered enough, and now I've added more piles of books. They're everywhere. So I'm super excited though to see them arrive. I can't wait to get those boxes and open up and take pictures and share them on all my social media. So that's the cover there for book 2 if you guys are being able to see that. So true. There's so many. It's hard sometimes to know where to start. I ended up having to create the cover myself, so that wasn't the original cover design because my cover designer apparently did not understand that it was not nice to use AI. This cover does not use AI. So it is not as pretty. But I happen to like it. All right, let's so what I'm going to do then is I have one more scene to read for you if you'd like. This one takes place in chapter 2. If you've Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. For everyone who's read the first book, you'll remember Nathan is the first young man that they rescue from the enemy side. He's been implanted with a number of cybernetic implants. And so in chapter 2, we find him on the Chicago with Oriana and Piero, her brother. And so this scene takes place in chapter 2. Nathan and 2 other augmented teenagers are searching the captured enemy battleship in the company of Marines. So we're joining them already on board the ship. Time stretched on as they walked until they suddenly stopped, and word was passed back that they had come to an open door or hatch. Commander Monroe ordered them to go in. When Nathan was finally close enough to see into the room, he felt a cold chill run under his skin. Many large horizontal cylinders of metal and glass were lined up in the long room. Strange machinery was connected to the sides of them. There was a body in each one. The people had been sliced open and parts of them removed. The inside of each cylinder was splattered with the red brown of dried blood. The Marines moved through the room, pointing their guns and lights into corners and shadows. They didn't find any movement in the room and called it all clear. Nathan, Danny, and Kara stood together near the door in silence while the Marines searched the room. They didn't want to keep looking at the bodies, but they couldn't stop looking at them either. Nathan was glad he couldn't smell anything through the filtration of his suit. Nathan spoke softly and said what they had all been thinking. That could have been us. Commander Monroe peered into some of the cylinders nearest the door. Check all of these containers for survivors. Everyone spread out to check the cylinders, but none of the people inside were alive. We'll get the medical team over here to recover them once the ship is secure. Until then, there's nothing that can be done for them, said the commander. Nathan shuddered at her matter-of-fact declaration. The Marines left the room, putting the teens back in the center of the formation, and continued down the long corridor. The whole place was cold, and there were still no symbols or signs of any life. The other team was having similar results. It seemed like the enemy had disappeared. They rounded a corner and came into a wide open area with a ceiling so high that it disappeared into the darkness above. Even shining a light up didn't reach it. The Marines moved cautiously into the chamber, and Commander Monroe ordered the teens to remain behind in the corridor until the room was secured. As the Marines moved deeper into the chamber, someone gasped, and there were several other exclamations and even quick prayers. Nathan looked around the doorway to see inside. The lights from the Marines were shining up on something in the center of the massive chamber. A wide column of metal stood about 6 feet high, and suspended above it were sling-like seats that cradled a half-dozen humanoid figures. Tubes, wires, and hoses of some kind hung from above and into the bodies of those people. Their legs dangled from the seats as if they sat in some kind of bizarre baby swings. The gray color of the seat material nearly matched the pallor of their skin that hung from their frames in folds and pockets as if there was no muscle beneath it. Hair hung from their heads in patches like a dog with mange. Their wide-open eyes stared down with no sign of life, and their mouths hung open and slack. Dun, dun, dun. So that one's, again, that's from chapter 2. So we're still very early in the book, and it's really setting things up for the future. So we've got these gray ones, as they'll come to be called, and wondering who these people are. Where did they come from? What are they? Are they human? We just don't know yet. Any ideas? Thoughts? What do you want them to be? How many chapters? That is a good question. Let me look for you. I want to say it's 17 or 18, but 17. So book 2 is 17 chapters. It's about 200 total pages, give or take. So they're not extremely long books. It makes them a fairly easy read, I think. Not sure yet what book 3 is going to be like, though. We'll have to wait and see what it demands. You're welcome. I'm here for you to answer all of your pressing questions. How many paragraphs? Smarty pants. I don't know. But I could tell you that it is 62,232 words, including the title and dedication and the author section at the end. Of course, now that no more day job, so I have more time. Yes, as far as audiobooks, I don't know if I'm gonna release it as audiobooks. I'm thinking about potentially recording the books as audio for YouTube, though. And so that way folks could go ahead and just subscribe to the YouTube channel and listen to them that way. Um, if I'm going to look into the software and what's needed for audiobooks. I know there's a little bit more involved in that, as far as setting it up so that it's segmented into the chapters and everything that they require. So I got to do a little bit more research. So for this time, we got it down to, hey, we've got paperbacks. So physical books. I'm thinking for book 3, after book 3 is done, I think I may run a Kickstarter. And as part of that, I'm thinking I'll include a hardcover version that includes all 3 of the books. So it would be a really nice copy for folks who want that. And so that would be a very limited run, just for the people who back it, because those can be a little bit on the pricey side to get printed. Oops. My phone is vibrating. Thank you. Yeah, there's actually some really great services out there for independent authors to be able to get really beautiful copies done and stuff like that. For this, I was just basically looking for just getting them into print. So that was the overall goal. A lot of folks had been asking for print versions. So I wanted to make sure that we did go ahead and do that, for this time. And I kind of want them in print too, so it's more fun to be able to carry them around and show them off that way. Hopefully you guys aren't hearing the phone vibrate. I'm going to go ahead and share a couple of links again, just in case I got lost in the chat. Vader is right here. He's watching me. He thinks I am crazy for talking to myself. He does not understand what is happening. I'm surprised he hasn't tried to walk across the keyboard yet. So that link again is for the contest. If you want to enter to win copies of the book, I am going to close the form after the live stream. So any chance to win is going to end with that. Okay, that's good. Because if I mess with it, it is the camera. So I can't see it. Hold on. No, I can't see what's going on because it's just showing the camera. So that link there was the contest, and then this one is my website so that you can find out all the information, keep up on what's going on. And Vader doesn't like the vibrating either. I think he can hear it for sure. And then once again, if you purchase the books from Amazon using my link, I will also, in addition to getting my royalties, I'll get a small commission on that and anything else you happen to buy after using my link to access Amazon. I totally appreciate you. Oh, we've got one entry. We have quiet people in the stream here who are just lurking. Hello, hello. Nobody, no other questions? Nothing else exciting? Questions about the first book? You usually just lurk. Well, I appreciate you conversing because otherwise I'd just be talking to myself without you too. So much love. Love. I was hoping for more folks, but maybe people will watch the stream later. Vader's curling up. He's displeased with the disturbance to his normal sleep schedule. Gotcha. That makes sense. Aw, thank you. I appreciate you guys. I do. All right. Well, since we don't have a lot of conversation happening, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. And I want to thank everybody for joining me. If you haven't already, do please click subscribe and click like for this stream. It helps people find my channel and videos. Hi, Rick. Thank you. And so if you subscribe and click like, then that helps the algorithm. It helps me out, and it helps you to be able to get more things that you like as well. And I'm not sure who else in here, but I do want to thank you so much for joining me for this live stream. Thank you so much, Kat. I love you guys. I love you all. I truly appreciate you celebrating with me. I'm so super excited about the books coming out. Thanks, Mike. And all right, so I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. And everybody enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Love and kindness.